Hey fam, hope you're having a good weekend. I wanted to make a quick video this is for 2/3 unit, about applications of calculus. So, and we've actually done a lot of questions like this already, but now we're kind of formalizing. So let's say, this is all about rates of change. Now let's say that I'm filling up Abby's water bowl, right? And let's say that we can model the volume of water in her bowl by this equation, all right, where T is in minutes and V is in litres. All right. So what does that say? Well, that says that at time 0, the bowl is empty. There's nothing in there. And it also says that at time 1, the bowl is empty. There's nothing in there. All right. If I were to draw a graph representing this situation, I would get. So I've got it's a parabola, right? And I just found the roots basically. The roots are at 0 and 1. So in terms of a physical problem, and this is a bit of an odd one, but seeing as I said to you that I was filling the bowl, the problem only really made sense. Sorry about that, you probably just heard my ringtone. So I think I said that it only really makes sense for T up to a half. Because once you hit a half, this is volume on the y-axis. Once you hit a half, right, the volume starts going down. So obviously I'm not filling it up anymore. Presumably something else is happening. But it's also perfectly valid to say that this model only really makes sense up to time a half. Right, so I'm only actually considering this as the model. Everything else is invalid. Right? So it's just a restricted domain problem. So then the questions come, and the questions are things like, what is the rate of change, or at what rate am I filling the bowl at time 0? So, talk about rate. So hopefully your instinct is to go differentiate. So V dashed equals 2t minus 1. So when I start filling, and there's my ringtone again. And with that, I worked out my error, so the angry YouTube commenter can now go away. What I meant when I did the model right at the start was t minus t squared, obviously, which would make this 1 minus 2t. So that means that at time 0, the bowl or whatever is increasing at a rate of 1, and that is a rate of 1. And now you need to think about the units from up here, litres per minute. All right, you might get other questions like, when is it increasing in a maximum? So then you would set, you'd set the derivative to 0. You would get when is it increasing at, t equals a half or whatever. So lots of things like that, or describe the model. Another thing that could happen is instead of being given the volume, you might be given the rate of change of the volume. So maybe it says that, I'm filling up the chicken's food dish at a rate of, I don't know, 100, or maybe 10 grams per second. Doesn't really matter. Right? So, and then it might say, something like find the volume. So let's find the volume. Let's think about what kind of questions we could be asked. So when I find the volume, obviously I integrate. And when I integrate, I get 10t, where now volume, because of the units up here, volume is in grams, time is in seconds. Right? So I get 10t and then plus my constant. And now I want you to think for a second about what that represents. Right? So that the physical situation is that I'm out there pouring food into the chicken's food tray or whatever, and it is constantly going in at 10 grams a second. So maybe that's, 100 little pellets are going in every second. Now, and then that's saying that the volume, once I start, so I start at time 0, once I start, the volume is increasing by 10 every second. So, if I think about what I just said, the volume at 0 is 10 lots of 0 plus C. So it is C. Right, so hopefully I didn't let the chickens go down to an empty food tray. So that C there represents the amount of food they had in the dish at the start. So the question could say, you know, they start with 500 grams of food, or it might say after time 5 they have 200 grams in their food tray. How much did they have after 3 seconds or something, or at the start? So then you've got, right, V5 equals 10 lots of 5 plus C, but it also equals 200 based on this information. So C in that scenario is 150. And then you would go and answer more questions. Right? So all we're doing in this topic is we're applying all the skills we've been developing for the last, year and a half now, and we're applying them to word problems, which we've been doing basically the whole time as well. There is a photo of a festive fidget, I believe is the name, at Christmas time, ready to give us some gifts. Thank you, Bethany, for your sausage dog picture. And I'm out of pictures, so I look forward to getting some more soon. Hope you have a nice weekend, and I'll see you at the Athletics Carnival.